What's going on, guys? This is Salty Sloth, and today we have something a little bit different. We've got a 1-hour race around the Nurburgring GP circuit with GT3s and GT4s. This is one of my first times doing a multi-class race, and I would say it went pretty well for me. I ended up qualifying 8th, which is actually pretty surprising because the Lexus isn't great around the Nurburgring. And also, watch out for this BMW beside us, because we're gonna get into a little bit of an incident with him later on. Anyways, about to go green here. I'm pretty far away from the McLaren. I don't know why I was. I should have been a little bit closer. But I don't think that's going to affect us too much. I'm really just looking to survive for the first few laps. Going green here. I get a pretty good launch. The straight isn't really long enough to get any moves done here. I'm really just trying to play it safe. I get pretty close to the McLaren here. Try to maybe make a move up the inside, but I realize it just isn't worth it because that really wasn't on my agenda for the first lap, and you'll see that a few people do end up crashing on the first few laps. Anyway, BMW trying to find a way to move up on the McLaren. I'm trying to find a way past the BMW. He ends up getting a really good move here because I'm on the outside. I gave him way too much room here, and he ends up making it work and sticking beside me. Going down into turn 5, I'm just trying to get past this BMW at this point. Coming to the braking zone, I brake at my normal point, but this BMW was just, he had bigger balls than me, so he ends up making it stick, and I feel like I should have probably closed the door there, but it is what it is. Now, this was a very opportunistic move from him. I feel like if I would have done what I wanted to do, he would have definitely killed me, so I decided to give him some room. I feel like that was a little bit aggressive, but honestly, I'll let it go. Now, going through here, I was shaking in my boots, so I went a little bit wide, and I got a little bit mad at myself here, and I told myself to lock in because, you know, I gotta get this move done on the BMW. Speaking of moves, this Porsche behind me decides that he wants some, and I got pretty mad at him here because I feel like that was not gonna work either way, and it caused me to compromise my line. Now, going into the final chicane here, you're going to see a Porsche all the way off to the left here. Free position for me. I honestly can't complain. He definitely did a stupid there, thinking that we were going to go on the northern loop, but that actually brings me a whole lot closer to the BMW. Now, going on to the next lap, you can see I'm right on his ass. He really scared me here. He overslowed a little bit, which was a little bit infuriating because he was kind of braking a little bit too early the whole lap, and I really thought that I was going to run into him sometimes. Now on the straight, fully in the slipstream, I'm going to try to make a move, and he starts going defensive. I think me kind of cutting in a little bit there kind of scared him because he kind of wobbles around a little bit, kind of maybe thinking I'm going to hit him. And many times in going into turn 1, I would always go too deep, and I would miss the apex, and I would end up bouncing, and that was super annoying because it would compromise my exit every single time. Anyway, BMW goes wide. I try to capitalize off his mistake. He gets a better exit, and I can't make the move on him here. I try to stay as close as I can, maybe trying to make a move into turn 3, but he covers it off pretty good, and I can't make it. Now, this happened a lot to me this race. I just couldn't get past people. I think my Lexus, I usually use just the default setups because I don't really bother to use a normal setup, and I feel like always on the Lexus, the aggressive setup is always made more towards straight line speed instead of cornering. So every time I would get really close, he would just pull away. And I couldn't go around the outside because I didn't have as much downforce or cornering ability. So that's always something to look out for when you're making your setup, especially on a track like this when you are doing lots of corners and there are not a whole lot of straights. Anyway, so this is my incident with the BMW, and I'll just let you see it here. Now, I got lots of mixed reviews from this, so I'll just kind of explain it to you. So, I feel like he reacted to my dive bomb, and that's why he kind of was turning in so early, because you can see that when he brakes, look at when he brakes. It's completely straight, and then you can see as soon as he sees me, he starts going in, and that's a super tight line that nobody takes, so that's kind of why I think that he was reacting. If any of you guys agree or disagree, just comment below and the reason why you agree or disagree. Anyways, this McLaren was my next project that I had to work on with my Lexus, and me and him battled literally the whole race. And also, I've got a little bit of a surprise for you when I actually do overtake him, and it's very, very nice. So this was my first real move on him. I found out the McLaren is shit on the straights basically, so I could have a much easier time with catching up to him on the straights. He reacts the shit out of my dive bomb. I don't care what you say, that was a reactive move. And yeah, he goes a little bit wide there. Next lap, coming along. First GT4 car, he gets a little bit compromised by it, and I'm right on his ass again. Now, you have no idea how infuriating this is to deal with a driver that can drive good but doesn't know the rules of racing. He swerves like he's friggin' drunk, like he's had one too many beers. Goes defensive. I get a pretty good switchback, but it's not enough to make the move work. Going on the same lap, we get to our second GT4, and this GT4, I think, shit himself when he saw me in the McLaren, because you can see that the McLaren doesn't hit him there, but he kind of just throws himself into the gravel, which was pretty interesting. I tried going for a move, but I wasn't committed enough to make it work, so he manages to cut me off there. It wasn't really cutting off, but I don't really know any other word to describe it. But back on the straight, as you can see, the McLaren's going to pull over, and there's a GT4 Mercedes that is going to conveniently be placed right in my braking zone, which isn't that good. But I get pretty close to the McLaren here. He basically has the same issue as me. Coming out of turn 4, a few more GT4s in front of us, and this is when it really starts to get fun with the multi-class, when you catch up to the other group ahead. You know, it's just so fun, so tight, and I just love it. Now, it's kind of funny, the rest of this lap. Basically, every corner there would be a GT4 that he perfectly got past, and I lost time from them, which was kind of funny. As you can see here, braking pretty late there to get past this GT4. I lose a little bit of time to him, and you can see, I think it's a pink Jetta and an Alpine, that's what it is, as we get a little bit closer here. Going through the last straight, going to the last chicane, you can see it gets pretty sketchy here. But all the GT4s were really good this race. They were all really respectful. I tried to lose as little time going through the last chicane, a little bit of a compromised entry there. But it all worked out pretty good this lap. Now, going onto the front straight, I am definitely within attacking range of him here, getting quite a lot of slipstream, and I'll be able to get quite a lot of suck from him. As I get a little bit closer, I'm kind of trying to see where he's going to go. He's going to go very defensive here. He actually dips 2 wheels onto the grass. And I try to get a little bit of a cutback, but just around the outside here does not work. I do get a pretty good switchback, but I go a little bit wide, and yeah, he just secures the position again. So when you have less downforce and you're on the outside, it definitely does not work. Going through the exit of turn 4 here, he's going to go a little bit wide, get a little bit of track limits. I don't know if he got a cut from that or not, but going into turn 5, we end up having a little bit of a touch. I attack here, and I don't really know whose fault this was. It was a pretty light tap, and nobody ended up spinning or anything, so I feel like that was more like a racing incident, honestly. But honestly, really good attacking and really good defending from him. Now, this is when I decided it would be a good idea to get my tires a little bit dirty. You know, thought it would be a fun idea. I don't know what happened there. I just kind of stiffened up on exit because I ended up touching the inside, and then I bounced back, and I just didn't want to do any major crashes. Anyways, he goes into the pits. Next lap, I end up going into the pits, just really being careful on pit entry here. Try not to get a penalty, because the penalty is quite severe for speeding in pit lane. I come out in about 7th, right behind him, and this is when we actually start to catch the Porsche, who's in 2nd place here. And same GT4 that ended up throwing himself into the gravel. Screws me over a little bit, but the McLaren was so close to the Porsche that it didn't really make a difference because they were just battling the whole time. But going through the last chicane for like the 700th time in a row, you can see we are very close here. And going through the last corner, you're going to see probably one of the coolest moments that I've had in my sim racing history so far, even though it hasn't been that long. Basically, McLaren decides to let down his guard because he wants more tow from the Porsche for some reason. I thought that I could get a double overtake going. Porsche goes really wide. McLaren cuts back in, gets an overtake done on the Porsche. Just to show you from another perspective, it was insane. I feel like I could have braked maybe a little bit later, but I feel like if I would have done that, I would have ended up taking out the McLaren. I could have maybe gone a little bit more to the left on entry. Anyways, Porsche and me, side by side through this corner, we all know how that goes. It goes shitty for me every single time. You can see he has the inside still, and I just decide to let go. But we're all very close. I tried to go for a little bit of a dummy move through turn 4. I keep forgetting those corners. But we are still very close, and it's really close racing. Anyways, next lap, I decide that I'm not going to try to lunge up the inside because I never make a move through there. And I go off-roading again, get a little bit of a bounce. And this is probably one of the funnest overtakes I've done, going through turn 2. I'm really close to him here. I decide that I want to make a little bit of a mistake, but we both go really wide. He decides that he's not going to take a late apex. I take a late apex. He goes really shallow. I get a really good exit. He spins a little bit on exit. I go for a dumb move to the inside, go to the outside. He's a little bit scared. I brake a little bit later than him, and I managed to swing it all the way around the outside for this corner. I brake a little bit early for that next corner, but overall, I got the move done. And now I know how the BMW felt on lap 1, and holy, it feels good to do that type of move. I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. But the race must go on. A few laps later, catch back up to the McLaren. And I decided that I want to make a little bit of a lunge here because he brakes really early and I didn't realize that there was a GT4. He goes off track. I decide that I need to let him by or else something bad's going to happen. And yeah, we both end up getting past the GT4 safely, thankfully. Now this is where my surprise comes in that I told you about at the start of the video. There's this 2 McLarens. I swear they were tag teaming on me. Pause, sounds a little bit strange. But going through turn 3 now, this GT4 decides that he just wants to block me off. Like, I don't even know. That was kind of stupid. Anyways, we're going 3 wide. You can't see it from this angle, but 3 wide. Here's a different angle. I go really wide, but the McLaren all the way at the inside gets a really bad exit, and I just decide that I want to take the track limits because I'm just that good at the game. I finally managed to get past him, and look what I friggin' do, man. This is so stupid. I get on power a little bit too early, I brake on the grass, and I friggin' die. I just die. And I literally didn't forgive myself for like 2 days after that. Making this video, it still hurts. I ended up losing 2 positions, which sucked, because I potentially had a P2 in me. Also, this Ferrari decides to do some stupid shit. I don't know what he's doing. I end up catching up to this Porsche, and I'm putting pressure on him. He makes a little bit of a mistake, going wide, and then he bounces. I give him a little bit of a tap. I don't know if you can see it, though. Going onto the straight, he gets a very bad exit. I go for a late apex. He defends like his life depends on it. He's really squeezing me here. But the Lexus's superior straight line speed manages to secure the position for me. Oh, yeah. And also, it can't be a proper race if I don't decide to absolutely screw myself over after I've successfully secured a position, because this guy manages to stay on my ass for the next 3 corners, as you can see. But thanks to some GT4s that were ahead of me, I think this was the next lap, I managed to put 2 cars between me and him. Now it's the final lap, and I managed to keep the position, thankfully, but last corner I decided that I want to do some drifting, which might not look very scary in third person, but trust me, in first person, it was literally the scariest thing. I literally go full lock left just to get myself corrected. But I managed to come home in P4, which is nice. But I am happy with how that race went. I think that if I wouldn't have crashed, that would have been good. But anyways, if you like the video, like and subscribe so that I know that I'm doing something right. And I'll see you guys next time.